It's the same thing every day. Clean your room, stand up straight, pick up your feet, take it like a man. Be nice to your sister. Don't mix beer and wine ever. Oh, yeah. Don't drive on the railroad tracks. Well, it's Groundhog Day again, and we're here to worship a rat. And hopefully, he's going to come out of his little cave and not see a shadow. My name is Scotty R37. I have a major network looking at me. And Jill, Antiderivative Jill, is here as well. How are you?
It's the Home Shopping Network.
Thank you. You know, you're really funny, Larry.
Yes, it's the same thing your whole life.
How are you today on this finest of Groundhog Days?
I'm doing wonderful. This movie is very fun and inspiring, and I enjoy it immensely. It's one of those perfect movies from my childhood that ages very well for me in the different stages of my life. Reflecting on routines that we get into that become comforting, but also so repetitive that, it reminds you that it's important to branch out, try new things. And can you break from that repetition sometimes to make your life better? Is the question that this movie asks.
Do you suffer from your own habits?
I sometimes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think and one of the fascinating things about this movie, Groundhog Day from 1993, starring Bill Murray and Andy McDowell, amongst others, Michael Shannon, Brian Doyle Murray, of course, Ned, the great Stephen Tobolowsky. This is a movie, I think, that warms my heart. There are things that you can change, like catching the little boy who never says thank you. But there are things that you can't change, like the old man who it doesn't matter how much soup he eats, he's gonna die.
You can only make his last day a little better than it would have been before, giving him a little more comfort.
What would you do if today was your last day on Earth?
Probably travel somewhere different. But in this case, you can't do that.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's what I appreciate about the idea of if you have one day to repeat over and over again, it's never going to be the one you want.
No, you won't be able to go back to the Virgin Islands and have lobster.
And pina coladas and make love like otters.
Yes.
I don't even know what that is.
Well,
Have you ever made love like an otter? I've never done that.
I don't know what the difference would be.
It's like a lot more flipper flapping. Or
and I guess wet.
I guess. And wet. Well, you don't want the dry sex. Anyway, moving on. I told you, call me Bronco. Yeah, so this has become a tradition for me. I enjoy watching this every single Groundhog Day. I think that Bill Murray owns Christmas and Groundhog Day because of Scrooge and this film.
And know the funny thing is that the two films are kind of similar in tone in terms of Bill Murray being an ass, realizing he's being an ass, and becoming a better person.
Yeah. Well, and interestingly enough, because I watched this movie 3 times today. I watched it once. Actually, I watched it twice without audio commentary. And I watched it once with the Harold Ramis audio commentary. And I did watch a making of interview with Harold Ramis. And the first choice to play Phil Connor, Tom Hanks.
But Tom Hanks is typecast as a sweetheart, so he didn't believe that. He thought that people would know that he'd be redeemed, so that it would be too predictable.
But then they said, but with Bill Murray, you never know. Yes. And yeah, so you watched the same things I did. This is great. This is great.
I read sources.
Jill, if I could repeat every Groundhog Day with you until I learned how to be a better person, it would be a great day.
It would be really illuminating.
Wouldn't it?
for whomever is actually looping. The other person forgets.
Yes. Yes. Isn't that the worst part about Phil's purgatory?
Yes, apparently in the original story, Rita was actually supposed to get a loop of her own, which would have given her a more even footing in terms of having a longer relationship with Phil.
I do like how it isn't until there is an actual self-acknowledgement by Phil that when he's manipulating the situation to gain his own happiness, the universe does not allow him to continue. But when he is absolutely exhausted and he's just hoping that someday maybe he can fit the ideal of being a good person, that's when the universe says, okay, you can have tomorrow.
Yes, when he stops being so selfish, when he starts thinking of others, when he does things to make life better, not just for himself, but for everybody around him. That's when things do get better, definitely. And
There he is, the man of the hour, the Tower of Power. How do you feel about Bill Murray?
well, Bill Murray apparently was perfect for this role because he is exactly the same character as Phil in this movie in terms of, well, I guess Andy McDowell says it best when she says, he's a jerk, but he makes me laugh.
Yay. Me. Also me. This is really close. So
Groundhog Day was released in theaters on February 12th, 1993.
10 days late.
10 days late, but it did receive a premiere at the Fox Village Theater on February 4th. And the story is by Danny Rubin, with the script written by Harold Ramis. And of course, the actual story of the script writing is a lot more complicated than that.
Well, it's one of those movies that was put on the blacklist. It was one of the greatest screenplays never made for about 10 years before it was discovered.
Oh, right. Well, Danny Rubin was inspired by vampire books.
Mm-hmm.
And he wondered what it would be like if a mortal could have the same kind of thing a vampire has, which is to be able to have immortality, and how that would work in a time loop.
Now, one of the things that is famously omitted from the storyline of Groundhog Day is what causes Phil to repeat the same day every day.
Yes, that's right.
And what do you think it is? Is it the Jews?
Well, speaking for technicalities for the loop, the producers wanted to know that. They wanted to know how he got stuck in that loop. And so they, Rubin tried to think of a way that Phil could be some kind of mad scientist with an invention, or that he had a jilted lover who placed a curse on him.
Well, and it's interesting because I heard that after the Monday, after Groundhog Day had been released, there were a bunch of Hasidic Jews who were picketing the premiere, or not premiere, but the first weekend, the Monday showing of Groundhog Day, saying, have you ever felt that you're living the same day over and over? And at first it was misconstrued as being like a protest of the film, but no, it was being acknowledged by the Jewish community as sort of proselytizing of that particular religious philosophy and doctrine, in terms of, because from the Old Testament and the Hebrew and the Torah and everything, there is no afterlife. Are you living your best life? And so they saw it as being sort of a try and learn how to live your best life.
Yeah, it was a very positive reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Many religious communities had, Christians and Buddhists, all said that this movie reflected their philosophies.
And oddly enough, so did the psychiatric community.
Yeah, in terms of changing your life for the better.
We had no comment from the Scientologists in the group. I would like to say hello to the chat, Jill. Is that okay?
That must be why Tom Hanks really wasn't in this.
Yes, that Tom Hanks would have made a great Phil Connors. Matt G is here. Hello, and a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious to you, sir.
Hello, Matt G. And
PvP
Lemon
is here.
Pie. PvP.
Hello, and hello, Chris. Just watch Quantum Leap, just in case. Yeah, no, we didn't. Did you watch it, Jill?
I did not watch Quantum Leap. I apologize for miscommunication, not saying that we won't be having Quantum Leap for a while because
You don't have to apologize because it's my channel.
Oh yeah,
we can do whatever we want over here.
Right.
Like, did you think that there was a plan on the Phantasmagorium?
Well, yeah, there was, but I thought we announced it. That
I think we did very adequately.
That we're going to be doing Picard, STP reviews.
Star Trek, Patrick Stewart. Yes, we will be doing that in 2 weeks from tonight. Yes, but we've taken a pause from the Quantum Leap, and we decided to discuss a time loop instead of a quantum leap,
which falls perfectly on Groundhog Day. So
yeah,
that's why it works really well. And the philosophy in this movie really does resonate with Quantum Leap. The only thing that doesn't is the fact that they eliminate all references to what time period this is set in. Or, they can't eliminate everything, but they kind of try to make it vague when this is set.
True. Hello, Lemon. PvP is going to be back later. I'm assuming after the blizzard. What do you mean a blizzard? It's only a couple of flakes.
The moisture is on your head.
That moisture is on your head. Hello, PvP.
Hey.
And Star Trek Picard is STP or some form of lubricant.
I just don't like giving it the metrics, but I guess to talk about it, it's going to give it a little.
Edge of Time is here. Ahoy, Edge of Time. No Hanks for the memories. This movie was filmed in Woodstock, Illinois, as opposed to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
The original, when you go to the town of Punxsutawney and they do reveal Groundhog Day and show you Punxsutawney Phil, it is outside of town. It's not in the center square. But they did get an exact recreation of the bandstand, like the pavilion where they present Punxsutawney Phil. That is a recreation within the film in the center square of Woodstock, Pennsylvania.
Yes, because
Illinois, pardon me.
Ramus wanted to make it feel really claustrophobic, so the town square really helps achieve that, paired with how crowded it is.
Yes. Now, put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb.
Yeah.
Babe.
The first time we see Rita, she's in front of that blue screen and she shows her good nature and everything. And she's played by Andie MacDowell. And what makes this a wonderful romance to me is that she has her own path and goals, and she isn't anything like Phil. And actually, she seems to play a bit of a foil to his cynicism, bringing in some humanity and compassion that Phil himself will learn to develop through his loops.
Well, and also you get to see the disdain of Phil as he enters Punxsutawney. He hates being in Punxsutawney. 4 Jan. 4. You must really love Punxsutawney, Phil. You've been here how many times? 3? 4. 4 Jan.
Yes, and so this is the second day, the second Groundhog Day, the first loop.
Mm-hmm.
And when he makes the announcement that it's Groundhog Day again, you think it's again because it was last year, but he means it's again. It was yesterday.
Today.
Yeah, today is still yesterday.
Tomorrow is yesterday.
Yep.
You wouldn't happen to have any espresso or cappuccino Oh, I don't know how to spell espresso or cappuccino.
She doesn't catch on that he says that.
No, he's a very mean man. He's
He
very
is.
sarcastic. If I were to go to small town Pennsylvania, as this film is, this is how I would react.
Yeah, he doesn't have much respect for anybody.
He's
Certainly
much of a
when,
sarcastic.
but very funny. Like I'm laughing this entire movie. If this movie's good for anything, it's good for how laughter is the best form of medicine. This one definitely gets me for that.
Well, and it's funny to have the cynicism of Phil juxtaposed with the earnestness and optimism of Rita.
Yes, definitely, and she helps him grow from that. But Ned Ryerson also gives us one of our important smaller loops in the movie. In the first loop, he's accosted by him. And the second one, even though he knows more, he still steps in the ice water. But only the fourth time does he decide to just punch him to avoid the ice water.
No, he doesn't punch him to avoid the ice water.
No. No, he doesn't do it to avoid the ice water, but that is also the loop where he avoids the ice water. I misspoke.
He does it for fun and profit. Yeah.
Mhm.
I actually like the one when he hugs uncomfortably long and it makes Ned run away.
Oh yeah, I heard that was ad-libbed, where the only thing Bill was told was to make him uncomfortable.
Delicious. And I want to bing to Stephen Tobolowsky, one of the greatest character actors of all time. If you don't remember what he's from, just watch more movies, and every time you'll see Ned.
He's in a lot of TV shows too.
Yes, that's true. Very
Memento.
prolific. Yeah, and he is in Memento. Yes, he's Sammy Jenkins, and I remember Sammy Jenkins.
And he earned this role because he was the most annoying. He was able to portray annoying the best.
Bing. And so yes, this is downtown Woodstock. The gazebo was freestanding, and yeah, well, it's Groundhog Day again.
And this right before this, he gets the first slap from Rita.
Yes, but he requested. He says, "Slap me really hard." Thanks. I need your help.
So I'm wondering, what kind of masochist enters the shower without checking the temperature of the shower?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm very serious about my showers, so I don't know. I didn't know that people did that. Just hope for the best.
I have never stepped into a shower and turned on the water. I always turn on the water first, gauge my temperature, and then step in.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
Yeah. You know what the best part is? It doesn't matter which way I get into the shower. It's 90% of the time naked.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes fully clothed.
Well, that's the only way to get clean.
Yeah, but sometimes I just want refreshment. A man can feel a shower coming on.
So around here, the Groundhog Phil predicts 6 more weeks of winter, and human Phil can't wait to get out of the town. But that blizzard, he said, wasn't going to happen, is happening. So okay, this was before the first loop that this happened.
No, this is the second loop.
I know. I know. In my dialogue here, and
originally there was
in the slides, it's the second. It's the
there.
second day.
All right. There was a scene that they filmed where Phil absolutely trashes his bread and breakfast, and they tried to do like a dissolve to make it look like, okay, everything around him has changed back to normal, but he stays the same. They couldn't achieve the look, and so they ultimately decided to go with the broken pencil analogy.
And I see that. I caught that right here. The broken pencil is right there. I heard that they painted the walls, and it was like 3 days of shooting that just got thrown away. And he even had a mohawk.
A reverse mohawk.
Oh, right. Hey, that's even worse.
Hey, yeah, just a bald part all the way down the middle. And hey, Trip is here. Hey, DVB.
Hey, DVB.
Giving a shout out to PvP. DVP. And Edge of Time says, "Shh, I'm not here."
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
Your secret is safe with us.
Yeah, we won't tell anyone. So anyway, Phil wakes up on the third day and he kind of has a handle on it, but he's not 100% sure. He still has to figure out what to do with this newfound world of unbroken pencils.
Yeah, the unbroken pencil was the experiment for him to get past the denial stage, because this movie goes through the 5 stages of denial. The 5 stages of grief, rather.
Yes. What are they again?
The 5 stages of grief.
Yeah, what are they?
So first, there's denial,
I thought there was
anger.
denial, anger, bargaining,
Yes.
um,
Depression.
and then acceptance.
Yes.
But not in that order, I don't think.
No, it's in that order.
Is it in that order? Okay, fair enough. He goes through all of them.
Yes.
And so, yeah. Jill, here's a question. Now that we've established that Phil is in a recurring time loop,
Mhm.
is it multiple timelines? Is it parallel universes? Or is it a malleable single day that only Phil is aware of?
So this is it's the same day that's only changed through Phil's actions.
So you're saying that for every single one of these permutations that Phil experiences and enacts, are you saying that there is a group of people who have to carry forward with the consequences of Phil's actions in a specific timeline?
I didn't consider that every timeline is its own branch. That's not something that I went to. I just thought the entire day reset, including Phil's physiology. But it's possible, sure.
Like, I was curious about, because Ralph and Murray, or whatever, the two drunk guys at the bowling alley, they go on the car ride with Phil that goes on the train tracks, and then he crashes into the giant groundhog, which goes into cars, and then the police arrest everyone for intoxication and reckless driving. And so they send everyone to jail, and Phil wakes up the next morning in his bed and breakfast.
Yes.
Wow. And that was a whistle. And but yeah, so in an alternate universe, do Ralph and Guy, do they end up like carrying on with the consequences of Phil?
I didn't think so, but
So they just all got reset.
Yes, I think everything gets reset. The pencil. We're back to the pencil.
So if Phil can't break it, then nothing is broken?
Yeah, I think so. But you bring up an interesting possibility that it could be, well, however many days. There's a possibility that this is going on for 30 years.
Well, but see, here's the thing.
If that's
30
the case,
years, possibility is that Phil does relive the same day 10,000 years worth.
Well, that's one of the possibilities, because the Buddhist religion says that your soul can't really evolve until you've been through 10,000 years. But they eventually settled. Ramus settled on saying it was about 30 to 40 years, and the original author of the story.
Is that a cat or your daughter?
That's my daughter.
Okay, well, go make sure that she's not strangling the cat.
Okay, fine. I'll explain more in a minute.
Please. I just want to say hello to the chat. Hello to Black Philip Alvarez. Spoilers for Independence Day and Groundhog Day. Don't ruin Groundhog Day for me. It's a sacred movie. I'm not going to ruin it. We're trying to celebrate it. Infinity says you had negotiation and grief wrong way around. Otherwise, good. Oh, okay. Thank you. Those are the stages of loss or whatever. Phil says, PleasantValleyPicker.ca says, I don't even know if it's dot matrix. So Phil can endlessly change the day and reset at 6 a.m. every time. Yeah, that's the possibility. It's a hypothesis. Affinity says denial, negotiation, anger, grief, followed by acceptance. That makes sense to me. I don't like your attitude. However, if you're willing to change it, I'm amicable. And how dare you ask me to change it? This is just very upsetting. Fine, I'll do whatever you want. Right?
What?
Trip says, I hope to take a boat down denial someday. Well, I hope to launch 1,000 ships because I am that lady who launched 1,000 ships.
Okay, so actually, this is one of my favorite parts. The part where we talk about how long this cycle went, and so
Yes,
Ramus just guessed it was around 30 to 40 years. But what I like is Ruben's idea, the guy who actually created this story. And in the original story, Phil marks his passage of time by reading one page out of a book every day. I don't know what kind of library it was. And he's just stressed when he runs out of books. But it is in this way that he marks the passage of time to determine that he's been in the loop for 70 to 80 years. So I think that's probably really it.
So you think it's more within 100 years?
Yes.
Okay.
And yes, because it takes about 10 years to be really good at something, and he masters a bunch of things.
I love how Rita is very wary. Oh, and that was Harold Ramis, the director of the film. This is the last time that you'd see Bill Murray and Harold Ramis together. I'm a big fan of seeing them together in the movie Stripes. But yeah, they didn't really work together much after Groundhog Day. Apparently there was a falling out, but they reconciled from what I understand before. Like this is almost like the Shatner Nimoy relationship of comedy. Like if
even worse, Shatner and Nimoy talk to each other.
Yes.
This got so bad they wouldn't pick up the phone.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. And I think that this is one of the most contributive collaborations in comedic history. And again, from Stripes to Ghostbusters to this. Like
and
those three
Caddyshack.
movies alone. Yeah. Caddyshack as well. Absolutely.
Yes.
I am a big fan. I grew up with Harold Ramis on SCTV or in the early days, and I'm a big fan. And so, but yeah, absolutely. Harold Ramis is Spock, and Bill Murray is Kirk.
Yeah, they had creative differences for this movie. Bill wanted it to be more philosophical, and Ramis wanted it to be more comedic. But I think that those two clashing ideas is what made this film so fun and so timeless and entertaining, along with how well they worked with the story creator.
Pleasant Valley Pickers CA in the chat says, LOL, Lemon, it's fine. Just that Scotty said I'd always be welcome, but that pertains to Quantum Leap streams, so I'm not too worried. Jill, do you want to send a thing to PvP?
Do you want to send a thing to PvP?
Not really. I think we're having fun.
I think so too, and
maybe I'll send in once we go over the let's go over it for a while, and then PvP will send you a link in the future.
That sounds great. Yes, a little bit further into the show for sure, because it is sad that such a wonderful, perfect movie caused the breakup of their friendship.
Yes,
and Bill Murray, it wasn't just this; he was also going through a divorce during the filming, and he just latched onto Ramis and bugged the hell out of him. And finally, Ramis stopped taking his calls, and Murray took that personally. And Bill acted pretty poorly on the set. He threw tantrums and lived up to a nickname that Dan Aykroyd gave him, the Murricane.
Oh, I like the idea of a Murricane.
Well, yeah, it also became a cocktail. I don't know how to make it.
It better be carbonated with milk.
With milk?
Yeah, it's gross, isn't it?
That doesn't sound good.
Well, no, but like a zombie is what is it? Or maybe is it a zombie? And it's like a whole bunch of rum, milk, and Coke. Milk and Coke is not
I knew
as
I
bad
should
a mixture.
I knew I should have looked up how to make a hurricane because you're the bartender here.
Well, I'll look it up. I'll make you
Mhm.
one in 2 seconds. I'm sorry, I'm still on PBR.
So
No, I'm looking it up. You say stuff.
okay, I'll say stuff, um, but I don't know where I am. So
Well, I
the
can find. I have the hurricane. 2 ounces of light rum, 2 ounces of dark rum, 2 ounces of passion fruit juice, 1 ounce of orange juice, 1/2 fresh lime, and a tablespoon of simple syrup, a
well,
dash of grenadine, and an orange slice. Shake all ingredients and strain into a hurricane glass. That's
well,
a
here it
hurricane.
says the hurricane is 2 ounces of fresh watermelon, 4 or 5 basil leaves, bourbon, lemon juice, and Saint German elderflower liquid.
I'm in. I'm in. I want one.
What is that?
Elderflower? It's a hoity-toy spirit of the old-timey days. But if there's
That sounds
if
good.
yeah, oh yeah, it's more fragrant, yes, fragrant, spirit,
Acceptable. Fragrant.
whatever, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah, definitely. And then
I'm not
pepper,
driving.
black pepper, and watermelon.
Black pepper and watermelon, and stir.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, but what day do you have it on?
Whenever
E-
you're having tantrums on the
e-
set.
every day.
And,
So what do you think started this vortex of time loops?
well, we talked about that already, didn't we?
You don't
Or,
you
well,
you
I
don't
don't know.
think it you don't know for sure.
Right. I only know what almost happened in the script, which was that he got jilted lover cast a spell on him and cursed him to having a loop. I guess until he became a better person. I guess kind of like how the witch from Beauty and the Beast cast a spell on the beast to stay a beast until he fell in love.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, but Ramus didn't want to do it, so he scheduled everything to happen so late in the shooting so that they never had to do it.
And we
Dark
all
number.
rejoiced.
Yeah.
Hmm. So after going to a medical expert to find out whether or not his brain is broken,
Oh,
he
I'm
goes to
still
a
here.
psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is an idiot. And so I'm going to scientologically say that all psychiatrists are idiots based on the movie
Well, you're not a
Groundhog Day.
veterinary psychiatrist, are you?
Yeah, but can you join me tomorrow, or is that not good for you?
And that's what makes him punch the pillow on his face.
What if there was no tomorrow? What if there are no consequences?
But this is one of my favorite scenes where you can draw parallels of being stuck in a time loop to being stuck in a rut or a dreary, inescapable routine.
Oh, I can read this if you want to go slow.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
I was in the Virgin Islands once. Met a girl. We ate lobster. Drank pina coladas. And at sunset, we made love like sea otters. That was a pretty good day. Why couldn't I get that day over and over and over? Burp. Rick, Morty.
Yeah, it's funny. That scene that you just read, it's funny on the surface, but even paradise over and over would eventually become wearisome. There would be no growth or education in it until you started to change it. It would become empty. So what he has in Philadelphia, by contrast, changes his life in a much more profound way, I think.
Punxsutawney. Not Philadelphia.
Oops.
Oops. But yeah, I agree with you because if he were to have, and that's the thing,
Like,
is it the one day that he values so much, and he's like, why couldn't I have that day to live over and over again? Because he would lose value in that day.
mhm.
He has to earn Groundhog Day. Like there's
But
something he has to achieve. And what is it? Only Phil knows.
I meant to say Pennsylvania, but yes,
Well,
only
Philadelphia
Phil
is
knows
in
what does Phil
Pennsylvania.
know?
Phil knows. Just Phil knows.
What is okay?
He knows stuff. Phil's a knowledgeable individual. Why do you have to question his knowledge?
Well, I was trying to follow the thread and I lost it.
Well, Phil Connors. Bing. He knows. He eventually figures it out.
Mhm. So when he talks to, well, do you know their names? I didn't.
Ralph. I know the guy in the baseball hat is Ralph.
Ralph. Okay. When he talks to Ralph and his friend, he
I
says,
think
"What?
the guy in the red shirt is named Gus. Let's go with Gus.
Okay. What would you do if you were stuck in one place and every day was exactly the same, and nothing you did mattered?"
Well, I would take a shot, and that pretty much sums it up for me.
Exactly. That's what he says.
Yes. Actually, I would really like that slide because I think that there are times that I would like to use Gus's face as my avatar.
Yeah. Well, I could get that for you without the sub captions.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so this is where he
Well, this is when he endangers himself and
yeah.
others
Do
in
you
a
really think he would be
realization.
doing this so quickly in the loops? Like this is only the
Yes.
third day.
Yes. I think that hanging out at the only thing that redeems this scene for Phil is that he is sober.
That's right. He is sober driving on the railroad tracks, almost crashing into a train.
But he is also like with a party that are inebriated, and so this is the kind of hightailing shenanigans that Punxsutawney drunks would do on a February 2nd. You know what? We would crash into a mailbox if we were like living up Groundhog Day a little too much.
Yes, I do hear a lot about people crashing into mailboxes, and I like the stories where people who are fed up with this, they put concrete into the mailboxes so that the cars will crash instead of destroying the
Yeah, but
mailbox.
that's like when you see an escalator and then in between the two escalators they put hockey pucks so people can't use the in between two escalators as a slide.
Hockey pucks, escalators as a slide. What? Oh, do you mean
You know what I mean.
no? But nobody uses hockey pucks for anything down here.
Yeah. I suppose it is a little too racist. Because hockey pucks is a racial slur.
Oh, it is. I had no idea.
Hockey pucks are very black.
I'm learning new Canadian things today.
I'm blaming Don Rickles. So anyway, the best part about this is that when Phil does drive the car on the train tracks, he does veer off at the last second, but the police car that is chasing him does not. So a bunch of cops died, and a train was possibly derailed.
Possibly. We don't see that.
We never see that. We only see this with the, yeah, this is what we see.
You think the cops are fine because they end up catching Phil and
Maybe
locking
that's
him
why
up.
he gets sent to jail, is because he's responsible for the death of 2 police officers.
Maybe.
Or at least that's what I heard.
Well, that's what you just intonated into the movie.
Well, and yeah. And also, I do enjoy that when Phil wakes up the next morning, he's like, yay! I have absolutely
excited.
nothing to worry about. There was no one here this morning, you know, blue hat, gun.
No. So now he knows he can do things and not get in trouble for them.
Yes.
At
Consequence-free life.
least that is his, because he's still a jerk at this point. So he's just taking advantage of the days at this moment. But this is the first time he talks to the old man.
Ned Ryerson.
And this punch is really loud. Uh,
Thwack.
he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't fall in it this time.
Oh, Jill.
Yes.
Before we go live, I just wanted to okay, so we're gonna do the intro, and then it's just gonna be me doing the intro, and then I'm going to click the regular Phantasmagorium theme song. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay. Um, it's the same thing every day. Clean up your room, stand up straight, pick up your feet, take it like a man. Be nice to your sister. Don't mix beer and wine ever. Oh, yeah. Don't drive on the railroad tracks. Hey there, campers, up and at 'em. Welcome to Groundhog Day. My name is Scotty R37. Anti-derivative Jill is here, and today we are talking about Groundhog Day. I can see you. I can see you looking. Have a donut. Have a pastry.
And I happen to agree with that last rule. I love this movie.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of it. When was the first time that you saw it?
I don't know. When I was a kid, it came out in '93, so I was a child. I don't know.
You were 27 years old.
No.
Oh.
I didn't see it in theater. That's all I know. But I did see it on TV. So whenever it started coming out on cable TV or regular TV. So when was that? Is when I
Cable TV was invented in 1986.
All right.
I have no facts to back that up.
No, you don't.
Every now and then I'm going to start again PvP, yes. You won't know when it's going to happen. It's not going to happen at midnight, but I'm going to, every now and then we're going to start over and we're going to do it.
So the original script to this movie had that Ruben wrote, had that Rita would have her own loop, which would make them more even in their experience. And I think it would have strengthened their relationship, but it got cut out. And as it is now, Phil is essentially able to be in that relationship with Rita for years, and she has to end up catching up later once the loop actually stops.
I really like how Rita starts as a character being wary of Phil and yet still pure of heart, and she grows even after being manipulated by Phil. Like she does eventually trust and believe him. And it's kind of like I don't think that Phil and Rita had bikini time. I think they kissed.
No, they didn't. They definitely didn't until after the loop was over.
Right. They had sex on the third.
Yeah, on the third, absolutely, no doubt. Because she says, "Why weren't you like this last night? You just fell asleep."
Yeah, well, it was the end of a very big day. It's Nancy, old fiancée of mine. She doesn't remember me. I feel bad for Nancy.
Yeah, me too. So definitely I feel bad for Nancy, because the reason why I don't feel as bad with Rita is because she's eventually given the truth. She's brought in on everything and she knows what's going on. But with Nancy, it's just like a one night stand. What it is a little more creepy version of what he does with Rita. Because he
he manipulates her for the purposes of trying to find, whether it be physical satisfaction or companionship, but ultimately he does well, and he starts off by saying Rita to Nancy, and Nancy is none too pleased.
And I hear he really was eating these. You know how some actors pretend they're eating and then spit it out? He was actually eating all this stuff.
I thought it was great because even like okay, in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, when first mate Peter Pressman does the hand on Kirk's tunic, and it messes up the blood stain on his tunic from shot to shot. Well, and in this one, the amount of icing on the side of Bill Murray's face remains consistent the entire time, saying to me that this was all done in very few takes, if not one. I don't know. I'd have to ask Harold Ramis, but the man is dead.
And it also helped that Bill Murray didn't use napkin.
Well, true. He used Andy McDowell's sleeve.
And just for Matt G in the audience, we see here that you could have breakfast for only $1.99.
Well, and there's
Whenever
Nancy.
this is. Yeah, here's Nancy.
And the great Robin Duke. She's cute. She never did anything else. I always found her very attractive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. And we're about her. Do I have?
Do you have?
Nancy Taylor, played by Marita Garrity.
Yes. And I think this is her only real role.
Yeah, it's definitely her biggest role. And I guess she was in some other stuff. She was in Charmed, Touched by an Angel, CSI, Seinfeld.
She was in Seinfeld. Wow.
Yeah. There you go. So
she
was in a few things.
Now, okay, there's a question that I have, and Jill, you don't necessarily have to answer this question. It's personal to ladies. All right. So I've heard of a thing called a push-up bra. Mm-hmm. Now, is it for the benefit of ladies to create cleavage?
I think that's what they're for, but I've never owned one myself.
It's because you have giant boobs, right?
Well,
if someone asks you if you're a god, they're normal boobs. Okay.
Yeah.
I also have normal boobs.
Although they did get better after having children.
Well, I can understand that. You get more voluptuous. So anyway, after seducing, or at least discovering the information that Phil wants, he's like, Nancy Travis, or whatever her name is.
And of course, you in that thing
high school?
That uncomfortable thing when someone remembers you from high school, but you don't remember them, and you're like, "Oh, how are you doing?" Because you really
wasn't your grade 12 high school English teacher, Mrs. Walsh? Mm-hmm. And she says yes. Gets immediately moist and waits.
Yes, she stays right there.
Right there until
this happens.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of loving going on. Oh, Phil. Oh, Rita. Who's Rita? It's the one that I'm imagining you are.
And he makes that mistake twice.
Twice.
Not just once.
I told you, call me Bronco.
Well, he's not even with Nancy at that point.
That's true.
Or even Rita.
Or anyone. Just some blonde lady. Just a lady. Just a lady that he picked up at a truck stop. So he steals a bag of money from some inept Barney Fifes.
Yes, because they give this lady coins from an armored truck.
Yes.
So
roll of quarters.
Would that work if I walk up to an armored truck? Can I ask them for a change of coins?
I think you really, you know what? I don't advocate for crimes, but if you're going to do crimes, you really have to do your research and time it perfectly. And I think Phil did.
Yep, and who is Bill Murray impersonating here?
Oh my God, it's Nancy, my old fiance. Shy. Anyway, it's Groundhog Day, and we're here to worship a rat. No, he doesn't get that. Yeah, what would you do if you knew it was the end of the world? I just want to know where to put the camera, says Rita. Mm. Which makes her into Téa Leoni from The Day After Tomorrow, where she stands and holds Maximilian Schell as a tsunami wipes them both out, thusly ripping off the ending of Rogue One. Thank you, Rogue One. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to talk like normal people. Isn't this how they talk? Let me buy you a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and I like how that's paralleled in the beginning of the movie and the end. At the beginning here, he asks her for a cup of coffee, and at the end, she does.
Yes. Well, and it is. It's you see, and I really adore the evolution of this relationship because Rita is a squeaky clean example of goodness, and Phil does have to sort of elevate himself to understand her perspective on the world.
Mhm.
She is so positive and optimistic, and it frustrates him. Gosh, you're a nice lady. Gosh, you're an upbeat lady. And that's at the end.
Yes, that is.
So he's still guardedly optimistic. I appreciate the evolution of Phil until we get to the really dark stuff, like when he repeatedly tries to kill himself.
Well, that's also to do with the relationship with Rita because he keeps failing and he gives up.
You can't manipulate yourself into a positive situation. You have to be honest to yourself to actually be able to be worthy of said situation.
Mhm.
It's a guard. It's a guard. Just because you believe it doesn't make it so.
Yeah. There
I like
um
this. He's not afraid to cry. This is the compare. Like, tell me you're a perfect man. He's not afraid to cry in front of me. We are talking about a man, aren't we?
does he have to use the word poopy
Yeah.
to change diapers?
Hey, it's Phil Connors as he's sabotaging the vehicle.
I did
Thanks for
have
watching.
I did have one logical problem with the movie, which was solved when I was reading about the production. The
Yeah.
main logical issue that I have with this time loop is that given how much of a total ass he is early in the movie, when he realizes he's repeating a day, why doesn't he just abandon everyone and leave town before the blizzard strikes? And apparently, the original story by Ruben did address this, but Ramis didn't want the audience to worry about the rules of the loop and wanted to keep Phil feeling claustrophobic in the town. So I wasn't supposed to think of that.
I always got the interpretation that there was only one place they could go, which was back to Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
So I sort of accepted that. And it kind of locked them in Punxsutawney, but you like we're going to, Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's like, why?
Um, and also in terms of the technicalities for the loop, the producers wanted to know how he got stuck into the loop, but we talked about that earlier already. But that's
Well,
okay because we're in a Groundhog. Oh yeah, Groundhog Day itself got put into the English lexicon to mean something that's repeating.
Pleasant Valley Picker says, I'm really not worried about it for fuck's sakes.
Are we
Infinity
getting some
says,
trolling in
you
the
certainly
chat?
don't seem to be. No, 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 not at all, not at all.
He did that on my stream last night too.
Oh, which one?
Yeah.
Enchanté,
It's just
je ne crois, Frédérica, Frère Jacques, dormez-vous. And this is when they actually have an honest moment together for the first time.
Mhm.
And it works out almost perfectly.
Yes, and this is a perfect day, the the perfect date, and everything happens spontaneously, and it shows the rarity of falling in love, which is something that happens here, and that something that he can't replicate, even though he has all this knowledge about her.
Well, and the thing is that he is okay. So they before we get to the end and why it flips over to Phil continuing on his lonely, lonely journey, is that they make a snowman, which is something that is organic to their day. These ragamuffins, they start attacking with snowballs, and it's cute and it's lovely, and so Phil takes Rita back to his bed and breakfast, and he feels that they slow dance, But once he goes back to the bed and breakfast with Rita, he's like, "You stay now, we'll sex." And she's like, "This is moving a little fast for me." And he starts pulling manipulative bullshit. And he's like, "But I love you." And she's like,
Mhm.
"You don't love me. You just met
And
me. You
no,
don't even
it's
know
just
me."
surface level. Yeah.
Exactly. And he brings it back to surface level. And then the subsequent loops throughout the day is him trying to recreate that situation to see if he can actually get bikini area action with Rita,
Hmm.
which is,
And
ingenuine.
yeah, yeah, and that's what happens after this scene. But Rita says some things here that I like. She says, "I'm amazed, and I'm not easily amazed, how you can start a day with one kind of expectation and end up so completely different." And and she says, "You couldn't plan a day like this." And Phil says, "You can. It just takes an awful lot of work." But then he proves that he really can't.
Right.
You can't replicate the magic of that perfect day and that kind of spontaneousness and can't really be replicated. So we get lots and lots of slapping scenes.
I could never love someone like you. That's not true. I don't even like myself. What a rare mood I'm in. Anyway,
I like this part, just the way it looks. It's a lot of fun.
it's you know what, and this is an oversized clock that was made, and they did it they were going to film the actual clock, and they couldn't. And you can tell because the two zeros, usually those would be independent, not part of the same rotation. But yeah, this is an oversized prop that simulates a clock radio.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that part of the production notes. That's really neat.
Put your little
No
hand
wonder it
in
looks so great.
mine, and don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there today. It's cold every day.
Yeah, by this point, he knows the entire DJ routine like it's a song itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he's basically resigned himself to it, and he is falling into the ennui and the boredom of immortality. I'm just
Yes.
gonna do everything. Like this is where your average pothead goes. I'm gonna watch Jeopardy and eat popcorn until the end of the time.
Yes, but when every day it's the same Jeopardy and it's not so much fun to impress people after a certain point.
Yes, I get bored impressing people myself. Freezing their butts off, waiting to worship a rat.
Yes, it takes a few more cycles before he begins to lose it. And this is the beginning where he starts calling the townspeople hypocrites.
It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be gray. And it's gonna last you for the rest of your life. Put your little hand in mine. Ain't no valley or no river we can climb,
Did
babe.
you did you find out how many clocks they used in this movie? I didn't. I just thought of looking that up, but I didn't.
I did not find out. I did find out the name of the groundhog. His name was Scooter.
Yeah, that was because the people of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, were upset that they didn't actually film in their location, so they didn't allow Phil to be part of the movie, the Groundhog. So they had to use Scooter, and Scooter was basically a wild groundhog, and so he bit Bill Murray 3 times. And I do have to step away for a bit.
Can you, once again, he's out of his gourd. I have to stop him. Well, I know exactly how to give Jill a little bit of a moment. It's the same thing every day. Clean up your room, stand up straight, pick up your feet, take it like a man, be nice to your sister. Don't mix beer and wine ever. Oh, yeah. Don't drive on the railroad tracks. Well, it's Groundhog Day again. My name is Scotty R37. Anti-derivative Jill will be here. Today we are going to be talking about Groundhog Day, the movie, a movie about time loops and whether or not you can learn something given enough time. And I think in the case of Phil Connor, the answer is yes. It is a story of love and understanding. And you know what? In the immortal words of the philosopher Elvis Costello, what is so funny about peace, love, and understanding? I'd like to thank everyone here in the chat today. PvP, of course, Captain Infinity, and Lemon Pie. Lemon, good to see you here. Tom Jr. Jackson, thank you so much. It's such a good time seeing you here again on Groundhog Day. Pleasant Valley Picker, we are going to be sending links as soon as we know how to work the internet. Matt G is expialidocious, and that is, precocious. Trip, thank you, DVB, for being here. And yeah, Matt G tipped $1, which is far too gracious. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the 65 cents that I get. And by 65 cents, I mean the square root of Jack Squat. And Pleasant Valley Picker says, "Oh God, I hate watermelon." I've never heard anyone say that before. It's nice to see Black Philip Alvarez here, of course. And who else? I don't know how many other people. Probably Brian Doyle Murray. Oh, and also, because I know Jill hasn't very much paid attention to the history of Superman, it's nice to see Michael Shannon as the excited bridegroom who gets to go to WrestleMania later in the film. I apologize for the burpage. I blame carbon dioxide. How dare you? Carbon dioxide. Is that what carbonation is made out of? CO2? Yeah. Pleasant Valley Picker says, "I saw Elvis and the Attractions on the Brutal Youth Tour in the early 1990s. Man, did they rock the house fabulous." And this is the first appearance of Scooter in the film, I think.
And wasn't it Scooter earlier in all of the other scenes where they did the broadcast for?
I believe Scooter is the one who was the primary marmot who played with Bill Murray. So
the one where Rita says, "Isn't he cute?" That's a different Groundhog?
I think it is. I think that Scooter was the one who was specifically on scene for the driving of the pickup truck as it careens off of the cliff into the quarry.
Okay, so yes.
Hey, get the word out! Someone kidnapped Phil! And yet it was Phil.
Bill kidnapped Bill.
Yes. A tale of two Phillies.
Yes, and so that does corroborate with the reports of Scooter biting Bill in the truck.
Mm-hmm. And then, so there's a race across town with the intention of, he's going to keep going because no one is going to be able to stop him. And, you got to check your mirrors, just side to side, eye to eye. This is Phil taking life into his own hands, because if there's one thing in the universe that is going to stop the torture that is reliving the same day over and over again, it is going to be taking control of the titular groundhog from its own day. And so Phil decides to
This is the first self-deletion, and then we get lots more after this.
Amongst many.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he might be okay.
He might be okay. Maybe not.
Oh. But actually, yes, he is okay.
So put your little hand in mine Ain't no hill or mountain we can. Would you like some toast?
Yeah. He wants the whole toaster.
He wants to die, and
He
he
does.
does.
And he does over and over again. If one of these attempts had worked and the loop stopped, it would have been much more dire kind of dark ending.
Hmm.
However, whatever power is keeping this loop going won't let Phil do this to himself.
You won't get out that easy.
Of course, in case. Given his egocentricity, instead of thinking that some higher power won't allow him to go, Phil concludes that he is the higher power, a high power himself.
Hmm. I can't die. I'm not the god, but I am a god, I think.
That's right. It's right on the screen. And it's interesting because the movie has been used in allegory for religious groups like the Buddhist, Christians, and Jewish scholars. But then there's another part of the loop that I think about. We know that even when Phil dies, he'll wake up again in the morning with his original body in the beginning of the first Groundhog Day at 6 a.m. However, not everything is the same. His immortality in the loop is given meaning because he remembers every day. So even though his brain should be reverting back to February 2nd, 6 a.m., his memory is still intact. So I'm guessing I'm supposed to believe that his consciousness, remains aware of every loop, and that it isn't connected somehow to his physical body, his soul. And so that's where this movie gets more metaphysical than scientific.
Yes.
One of my favorite parts of this idea is that, like a prisoner, Phil wants to mark his passage of time. And so he doesn't do that in this movie, but he does with the library books that I mentioned earlier.
I'm sorry. I have to take off my shirt. If you'll just... I'm still wearing a t-shirt, so no nipples. But my sweater is getting very, very warm.
Well, just remember not to turn on your camera. We'll be okay.
Well, no, it's fine. I'm wearing pasties.
Oh, then we're fine then.
Yeah, we're good. No, I was just getting warm. I'm sorry. This is Doris.
That's good.
And
it's
she
warm.
really
It's been
wants
pretty cold where you are lately.
She wants to see Paris. Oh God, she does. This is Steve and Molly. They're getting married, but Molly is having cold feet.
Debbie.
Whatever. Same diff. This is Gustav. Bill? He's been a waiter for 3 years.
I thought his name was Bill.
He left Pittsburgh, and he's gay.
Yeah, he confirms this.
This is Gus. He hates his life here, and he wish he'd stayed in the Navy. And it's true, because he could have been collecting double retirement by now.
And this is where Bill Murray is proving that he's looping through his extensive knowledge of everybody in the town.
This is Carol. She came over from Ireland, and she loves it here.
Alice.
Same deal. And this is Nancy. She works for the local dress shop, and she makes excited chipmunk noises when she's excited.
That is a little rude.
Whatever. I heard her do it, and quite frankly, I'd be fine with making Nancy excited.
Yeah.
She's cute.
Yeah, she is. She is cute, but it's kind of a thing to just...
It is. Well, do you think that the manipulation of the women around Phil Connors constitutes any sort of assault?
Maybe
I don't want to get too deep.
Not Rita.
Yeah, well, okay, so he manipulated Nancy, but not Rita. Okay, that still makes him a bit of a D.
Well, he does start off manipulating Rita, but he makes up for it. He never makes up for it with Nancy.
True. You're very generous. And this is the thing, and this is one of those moments where, because Phil is completely honest with Rita, it sort of compels Rita to stay with Phil for the entire day and be like, I will help you, but I don't know what that means. And then,
Yes, at the start of the loop, it's the worst day of his life, and going through these loops, he's forced to change and embrace everything around him, including Rita. And it becomes the best day of his life when he falls in love.
and the thing is, it's not like he feels about falling in love as something that he's very melancholy about falling in love with Rita the first time he does. And that's why he's not allowed to move on. He's not being selfless for the sake of trying to contribute to Rita. He's being like, he's treating Rita like a oh, what do they call those rings that you throw into the ocean? Like a life preserver or a what have like it's something. Please help me, and if you can help
She's
me,
helping him.
yeah, and then if you can help me, then everything will get better. And the universe or the loop will not allow him to leave with that mindset. It's not until he can do something for Rita that
Yes,
he's allowed to leave.
until he's not just reaping the benefits of others, but providing something in return. That
Yes.
makes sense. Or like my favorite time travel loop inside of Stargate says, in the window of opportunity, in Colonel Jack O'Neill says, try if at first you don't succeed. Try.
Keep trying.
Again.
Ad infinitum.
And he spent 6 months getting good at throwing these cards into this hat. So I guess that's one thing that a god does with eternity.
It is. It is. It's, I don't know. How would you deal with the same day over and over again?
Well, yeah, I'd probably be selfish at first too, doing all the things that I want to do, reading all the books that I could read infinitely if I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to say have my same physical form and not have to worry about aging. Yeah, I'd definitely take that kind of advantage of it for a while before I made any kind of changes. So even though I don't start off as bad as Phil, I might not be too different.
I think I would start off as bad as Phil, and I would be very, very selfish. And I wouldn't like. I know you've been wanting me to watch Stargate for the longest time, and I think I would probably take a couple of loops to watch all of Stargate, so I could impress you and be like, Jill, I watched all of Stargate, and this would be
one day.
In one day.
That would be impressive.
Well, yeah, I know, right? Gosh, you're an upbeat lady.
But it takes a while for you to learn that life is more than just about you.
Yes, and I still haven't learned it, but I appreciate everyone who holds my hand along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but also after having fun reading books and films and things, I like the other things he does in this movie besides falling in love with Rita.
As do I.
I have Nancy on my mind now. I feel so bad for
Nancy can sit on my mind. Like I would use her thighs as earmuffs.
But I love when he starts using his loops to learn really useful stuff, artistic talents, like ice sculpting, playing the piano.
Yeah, well, and when he does go in for I appreciate what draws him into it is that he hears a beautiful Mozart concerto over the radio, and he looks around and he's like, does anyone else understand the beauty of the music that is coming out of the thing? I want to make that music. And so he goes for his first piano lesson.
Yeah, it's inspiring to me because there's really nothing stopping me from learning new stuff like that too. I don't have to be in a loop to do that. So
agreed.
And
I got you, babe. Put your little hand in mine. Have some money, old man. You won't be dying.
Yeah, he just gives him all of it.
Like hundreds of dollars.
Who knows? I don't really know how much. Like, does he steal from that truck every day? I'm not sure about that, if he steals from
I'm
the
pretty sure.
bank.
I'm pretty sure he steals from the truck every day.
This is the first frame of the movie where I noticed the people in the hedgehog costumes.
This is the first time that they really focus on them.
It's, it's kind of
Kick up
weird.
your booty, the things where we sing, bup, 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 at the Pennsylvania polka. We never talk, Larry. Do you have kids? See, this is the sonata. And hi, I'd like a piano lesson. Well, I'm in the middle of something. Can you come back tomorrow? Well, I'll give you $1,000. At which point, the crazy bitch kicks off the kid into the street. Winter, slumbering in the open air, bears on his smiling face a dream of spring. And that guy gets a absolute inspiration. I think every time that Phil met the guy at the top of the stairs, he made that guy's day better. Every time.
Except for even the time when he called him pork chop.
Yes. I think that he scared the guy into trying to be a little bit more assertive. I demand it.
I think we're at the point.
Are we at the inviting?
Yes.
Well, all right.
And I can take care of that if you'd like.
Sure. Phil Connors, Ned Ryerson, I have missed you so much. I don't know what you're doing today, but can you call in sick?
And that was ad-libbed.
Stephen Tobolowsky is so engaging as a bit character in this movie. And apparently, if you go to Woodstock, Illinois, you will find plaques littered about the town saying, this is where Phil Connors did this. This is where Phil Connor and Rita did this. It's a monument. I would like to go. I got to get a passport, Jill. I got to get a passport.
Where are you going? I was busy in my email.
Woodstock, Illinois.
Really? You're going to visit here?
Yeah, I'd like to go here.
Well, this is the part of the movie where he makes changes.
Well, this is when he finds out that he can't control death.
Yes, he makes a turn, and he's honest. He's honest with people, and he starts to care about others.
Mm-hmm.
And is this kid in the back, is that the same kid that he saves from the tree on a different loop?
Yes, because look at his... yeah, it is. It is the same kid.
Yes.
With his leg broken, I can see, and he never once thanked him.
No, he doesn't thank him. No. Well, because he never experiences getting his leg broken.
He doesn't know what he's missing.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Well, the StreamYard link is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Based on that, I
sent an email, but you just open season. All right.
I just wanted to say it's the same thing every day. Clean your room, stand up straight, pick up your feet, take it like a man. Be nice to your sister. Don't drink beer and wine together ever. Oh yeah, don't drive on the railroad tracks. My name is Scotty R37. Thank you so much for joining us. This tonight we're doing something a little bit differently. We're not going to be talking about Quantum Leap. Tonight we're going to be talking about Groundhog Day. My name is Scotty R37, as I mentioned before. Anti-derivative Jill is here. Hey, Jill.
Hey, how are you doing?
And I'm doing really well, and we have a lovely man who enjoys carrying cameras and messing with Nancy. His name is PvP. Hey, PvP. Have you ever seen Groundhog Day?
Oh, yes. I love this film. I wouldn't even have dreamt of asked to be honored being on the panel if I hadn't seen this film and loved it. It's a great film.
Well,
And by
luckily, this is
by
the
the way,
first time we've reviewed it.
I have been here for the entire stream. Just,
We just started it.
exactly. That's
Yeah,
why I've been here for the entire stream.
makes sense.
Yeah, I love this film. It's a great film.
Well, and when the old man starts dying, don't you start crying?
Oh, this is actually my favorite part of the film. Like, it works so well as a comedy through, most of the film. It's basically a comedy, let's face it. But the stuff with the old man, it just takes it up a notch to a higher level. It's like, this is not just about laughs. This is about humanity at its deepest level, right?
Well, and there's one thing that doesn't really get paid attention to when you're talking about immortality, and that's the loss that comes with it.
Yeah,
And
well, I made a comment in the chat a while ago, like, it's like, you've read every book, you've watched every film, you've watched every TV series, you've made love to every woman you'd ever want to make love to, and it's like, after like 10,000 years, it's like, what is there left, right?
yeah,
You just get bored. You would get bored. I can imagine praying for it to end after a while.
well, and I understand, and I think that's one of the things that Groundhog does as a movie is make the people who watch it, or at least I find when I watch it, is that it becomes an introspective journey as to
Oh,
what do I value? Is it the external? Is it
yes.
the physical? Or is it the satisfaction of knowing that I've contributed or helped, even in a minor way?
I think that last statement is the part that matters. It's like,
Oh,
if we're not contributing, then why the hell are we here, right?
well, you see, and I agree, but it's also I am also a selfish individual.
Oh, well, me too. I'm a total. How did they put that in Arena McCoy? You're essentialist.
Yes.
I can totally relate to McCoy being. I am one too.
So
I enjoy being a physical entity. It's fun.
well, yeah, it's sure. It's fine.
If that's what your point was, I'm not sure.
No, I was referring to the materialistic and the
Oh yeah.
acquisition of toys and baubles.
Oh
And
well, yeah.
I've recently been subject to an altruism and an assistance of being able to acquire those baubles. But that friendship has
Nice.
also been because of the emotional connection that allows me to ask. I don't know. I don't think I would get out of the loop. I don't think that I'm at the emotional or spiritual realization of the world yet.
So you
I would
just want to continue the loop and
no, but I haven't.
experimenting and trying different things and
I don't want to. What I'm saying is that I haven't learned enough to be empathetic and emotionally copacetic. Like I think that I'm still too selfish to be allowed out of the loop.
well, yeah, I guess I have my selfish times too. I mean,
Well, we weren't talking about you. We were talking about me.
well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just relating to what you're saying. It's
Well,
like,
I'm being selfish.
well, yeah. I mean, we all are selfish at times, I think. Well, most of us, unless we're a bloody saint or something, right?
I'm not
you
running for Pope.
Yeah, but we all have our shortcomings and our fallibilities. So you know,
And this is where Rita says, "Would you like to get a cup of coffee?"
but that's what this movie's about, right? It's about the imperfection of being a human being. If Phil
Yeah,
didn't have to
especially
go,
this kid.
but I mean, Phil basically goes on the hero's journey, right? He starts out as an
Yeah.
extremely flawed man, and eventually, at the end, he comes out a better human being.
But he does possess enough nihilism to have just gone down the drain. He didn't have to learn. He didn't have to save.
He didn't have to, but if he hadn't become a better person as the movie went on, there wouldn't have been a movie, right? It would have been pointless.
Well, no, it would have been a much darker movie. Like if you make it so that Phil Connors is a wholly selfish and bad person, then it would be sort of like Leaving Las Vegas, but in a time
Oh,
loop.
I love that movie too. That's a
And
totally different kind of film, but it's
well,
awesome.
but I'm just saying is that if Phil Connors could have dwelled in Punxsutawney for the rest of his days
Oh, hell
into
yeah.
eternity, and what of Lazarus? Yes, but
He
what
could
of
have committed every
Lazarus?
crime in the book 1,000 times over, and, but that would have been a totally different kind of film, right?
But
Exactly.
but eventually that kind of thing gets boring because you remember and appreciate you remember and appreciate everything in your surroundings, and so you grow as a person to become more of a master of your surroundings.
That's what I
And
was saying to Scotty just now, Jill. It's like that's what makes this film great. Is like Phil, as I said to Scotty, it's the hero's journey, right? Oh, Jill's gone again.
No, she's not gone. She's good.
Oh, she's just muted. But it's like the hero's journey. I mean, he starts off very flawed. He's struggling. Obviously, he's struggling. I mean, I don't think he's a happy person at the beginning of the film, being as nihilistic as he is. I think he probably inside longs, like many of us do, for companionship and connection with someone in his life that means something to him, a significant other, so to speak. And I think the beauty of the film is eventually at the by the end of it, he finds that person, and that's what saves him. I mean, it's
But
kind of cliche, but I mean, basically, love ends up saving him at the end of the film, right?
yes, but it's not love that is received by Rita, and I think that that is something like you know what, PvP. I'm going to talk about how lonely a man I am, and
Oh,
well, no, I am. I'm a lonely man.
I
I
can
don't have a
relate.
lady of my own. My Valentine's Day card is open, and
Me
the thing
too.
is,
Me too.
well, if you want to be my Valentine, you're more than welcome.
Well,
We
sure.
have to buy plane
What
tickets.
the hell?
But
I
the
don't
thing
mind.
is,
I don't mind a good bromance. What the hell? I'm not.
but
I'm
the
not.
thing is that if I put my self-worth in the love of another,
Uh huh.
then that diminishes not only my love for another, because that was
Hmm.
never there. What I wanted was to be a vortex of receiving love instead of actually giving that love, support, and action to another individual. And I
I
think that
think it's a
that's
two-way street.
well, absolutely. And I think that that's something that Groundhog Day, the movie, does, except for dancing moves. It doesn't, like, if you want to see white people dance, watch Groundhog Day. But, like, I think that part of the reason is that the first part of the movie is Phil saying, okay, what if I can give love to Rita and then Rita will redeem me and I want the prize of Rita. And the thing is that that's halfway through the movie,
yeah,
and it's not
he's
until
self-indulgent.
yeah, he
He's
thinks
selfish. He's selfish through a
yeah,
lot of the movie.
and it's the work that love goes into other people which really gives the true love back, and it is true love. It's selfless love.
Yes, that's what true love is. It's like you're willing to give to that person when they need you to give to them, regardless, of
And that's
what the
what Phil
situation is.
this entire montage that Jill clipped together, like all of the people that Phil has helped. He is the most popular man in town based on one day's work. He is
Hmm.
gone. He saved the kid. He did the Heimlich maneuver on the Punxsutawney Phil man. He knows Nancy, and apparently they have an amicable relationship now. He bought WrestleMania tickets for the newlywed couple. He fixed some old man's back. I don't know. He was the lovely boy from the auto club. So many things, and it was all for everyone else. And all of those things that he did, including wooing Rita,
Well,
he knows that when he goes to sleep and wakes up tomorrow, none of it's going to matter, and he's going to have to do it all over again tomorrow.
and all of the things that he did were what wins over Rita, not his knowledge of her or, what kind of chocolate she likes, but his care for helping other people without
Yeah,
self-interest.
But she realized that he was a good man at that point.
because he was.
Yeah, and that's the point. It's like you want to be with someone who's a good person, right? You don't
You
want to be with somebody who's a selfish, you know, idiot. Basically.
I've always had a trouble with love because I've always wanted someone to love me for recognizing who I am, but I have enough self-loathing that when they recognize it, I say, "You're an idiot."
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's
Sounds like
my
it
story.
sounds like
So you
self-sabotage
need
or
somebody
something.
who could see through that.
Well, I need a sarcastic bitch.
I'm not even going to try and respond to
I
that.
need a lady who likes to
Okay,
roll
Jill,
up
that you
newspapers
can answer that
Well,
one, Jill.
good
and hit
luck.
me in the nose. I know. No, don't worry. As long as I'm single, I will be on the internet
When
for
it
you
goes into
to.
bitch territory, I think I should just, you know, not.
Welcome to the
I'll just
Phantasmagorium show,
abdicate
everybody. We're
from my
allowed to say
message.
swears. We're not
Well,
Mormon.
well, you've been getting out more lately, so maybe you'll have a chance.
Yeah. Well, there's always hope, right? I mean, you're still a young man, Scotty. I mean, I remember on another stream you were saying you're old. Well, mid-40s is not old, buddy. Believe me.
Thank you. If I were a car, I'd be classic.
It's middle-aged, which is exactly what it is, and that's fine.
Well, thank you.
You got basically probably the equal number of years after you as you have before you, so that's not a bad thing.
I
Believe me,
do.
when you get to my age, you start to realize that there's less years ahead of you than you've lived. So that kind of wakes you up, just like Phil in this movie. You start to think, I really need to get my shit together.
No, and that's what I love about this movie is that I'm not going to live by their rules anymore. Like he becomes
Yeah,
so much better because he's not driven by career. He's driven more by artistic pursuits and how do I
yes,
become more like Bill.
self-actualized.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. PvP. Yeah. Like there's a great movie with Bill Murray in it called The Razor's Edge, and it's sort of Bill Murray
Oh, I think I
playing
saw
a
that
character
years ago. Gosh, that's
w-
so long ago.
walking towards Buddhism and spirituality, and people are people, so why should it be then you and I should get
I
along
vaguely
so
remember it, but
horribly?
that's a long time ago. Yeah, yeah.
And this is
There's
this
some
is
great movies.
something. So anyway, after Phil does learn how to open his heart to other people and not for the purposes of receiving emotion,
Hmm.
he wakes up the next morning with Rita, and uh, Phil is flabbergasted and says, "This is different." And
He's probably
Rita
happy
says,
as hell he didn't have to hear that damn Sonny and Cher song anymore either.
No, well, it's
"He
still
does
playing.
have to."
The song plays on February 3rd, and
Oh, I
the
never want to hear
DJs
that song
argue
again.
about it.
Put your little hand in mine.
As much as I love that song, it's like, well, it's torture when you hear a song too many times.
I did have it on a loop today.
Oh God. Well, it's a great song. I mean, I'm not saying it's not.
It reminds me of this movie, and it's amazing. I do appreciate that. I'm not one to gush about closing credits, but the closing credits of this movie, I do appreciate that it is blue skies.
That's cool. Yeah,
Like,
it's
and
a good
that's
touch.
throughout. Like, it doesn't fade to black. It does. It's this throughout.
Well, this whole movie is a loop, so it has to loop back to the opening credits, which were also skies.
How about
Yes.
Andy McDowell though? Like, she was in a lot of stuff back then, right?
I only really
Yeah, quite a
remember
bit.
Andy McDowell from this and Hudson Hawk.
I'm sure she was in a lot of. I remember seeing her in other things. I can't place, a particular film, but seems like back then she was a very, very popular actress. That was working a lot.
Well, I
And
dated Andy McDowell in the late 2000s.
She was a model for Vogue in the 80s
Yeah.
and Calvin
yeah,
Klein.
give us the thumbnail there, Jill, if you got the info.
Thumbnail. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
She was
I
also
thought maybe you
in The Legend of Tarzan and Lord of the Apes. No, I don't have. I don't
No,
Jill, give me Andy
I'm sure she's
McDowell
been in more stuff.
topless. Jill, give me Bill Murray topless.
I'm sure she was in a lot of stuff. She was a very popular actress in her day, I believe. So
I'm just going to read.
So no topless people?
No, well, no. Even if I did show this, there's no toplessness going on here.
No.
well, Scotty took off his shirt earlier, he said, but
I'm still wearing an undershirt.
well, that's what counts.
Then you're still clothed.
Yeah, I'm clothed.
Great.
Okay, I'm just looking her up on Wikipedia here. She's now 64 years old.
Yes.
Let me see. I'm going to look up career. Oh, jeez. Sometimes Wikipedia kind of sucks.
Well, and big
Well,
shout
yeah,
out
that's why I'm
to
not.
I thought they'd have a list of her films and stuff, but
well,
there's nothing coming
IMDb
up.
would be your friend in this particular instance, but I'd like to give a big shout out to Larry, Chris Elliott, who was in Cabin Boy and also Life Stinks.
Oh
Great
yeah.
comedic actor. And also, I believe his daughter was on Saturday Night Live.
Was he not a regular weirdo on the David Letterman show for some years?
True story.
Yeah. He was
That's
fun on
how.
those. I remember those.
And Brian Doyle Murray, of course, Bill Murray's brother, also regular of Harold Ramis comedies. Yeah, Harold Ramis directed, of course. And Nancy, Marita Garrity. Thank you, Nancy. You are very pretty.
Yeah,
And
I didn't really know
Oh,
that
oh,
Bill Murray's brother was also an actor until this movie. I mean, I've known this movie for so long, I didn't know that he was here.
how did you like the Heimlich maneuver scene?
It was good, and I did think about you and how you had an actual scene like that in your real life.
In a
really?
restaurant?
Really?
Yeah, I
You
Heimlich
almost
maneuvered a
choked?
guy. No, no, no.
Oh,
I gave the Heimlich
oh,
maneuver
you
to a
saved
guy.
a guy. Well, that's awesome, Scotty.
It
Good
was a
for
fun
you, man.
time. I had a blast. So
Hey,
did he.
I think you're a hero if you saved a life.
So did he. He was very, very pleasant.
I bet he was
I
very
don't believe it.
pleasant
I
if you
figure I was
saved him.
doing what normal people would do.
I'm just looking at IMDb or whatever the hell it's called here. She's got like 79 credits, it looks like. And the most famous film I'm seeing here would be Four Weddings and a Funeral, which
Oh,
is,
that is a very famous one.
yeah. Oh, well, that says it's a mini series. Oh, crap. Maybe it's not the film. I don't know. She's been in stuff, though. Man, I can't find a good list of her work at all anywhere. Crap.
I'm just waiting for Jill to send me topless photos of Andy McDowell.
Yeah,
I
I just can't find
If
anything.
that's
Sorry,
something that
guys.
I'm supposed to be doing, I'm failing on this loop.
Yeah,
Don't
usually I
worry.
can
The
find
next
a
one.
good list, but yeah, not
If you
finding
want
it.
if you want to find out more, join the Phantasmagorium Discord where we post pictures of topless people.
Is there a Phantasmagorium Discord?
I don't know, maybe.
I'm not on Discord. I don't even know how the hell. Well, I should get. I guess Discord's pretty popular, isn't it?
It is. There are a lot of people on it.
Yeah, I've heard.
Are you guys on it?
I am.
No.
I should try and figure it out one of these days. I'm
I
such a
think Jill
Ludd.
has it.
I'm a
Jill, you
Luddite.
have a Discord.
I have a profile, but I don't have like one for my channel. I don't have a channel on
Do you have
Discord.
topless? Do you have topless people on your Discord?
No.
Well, then why would I go there?
Well, then don't.
I won't.
Great.
Hashtag Keiko begs.
Hey, just because people are topless doesn't mean you want to see them.
True, Newman. So that's Groundhog Day. I guess if you would like to, if you'd like to know more, then I would say start at the beginning and just replay this entire video again on the tubes that are you, right?
That is essentially how it's done. When I'd like to thank everyone who's listening now and on the replay and who's lurking and not in the chat. Everybody's appreciated.
Did you should I list them?
Sure.
Because the Phantasmagorium absolutely and totally appreciates all of the people who watch, like, subscribe, comment, share. There's a Stream Elements tip place if you want to give the monies. If you want to throw toonies at me.
And it
Yeah,
says
there were quite a
no
few people in
animals.
chat.
No
Matt
animals
G.
were harmed in the making of the Groundhog Day, but that's not true. Bill Murray was bitten 3 times.
He is an animal. Yes, it's true. And so I wanted to thank Matt G for being here. Of course, PvP for being here and being patient and coming up on the panel.
Hey, totally. I really, I wasn't really expecting to get a link tonight. Like, I was like, okay, if you guys just want to chat with the two of you, that's cool. Like, I know you guys have such a good chemistry together. I wasn't really worried about getting an invite. But hey, I totally awesomely appreciate that I did get one.
It's one of the things that we, like Jill and I, talk about most is that when we're behind the scenes, we talk about the shows that we do when it's just me and myself and her.
Mhm.
And it's like, is PvP gonna show up? And then Jill is like, oh God, I hope not.
What? That's not true.
I
It's
don't
not
think that's
true, but it's really funny to say it.
true.
But
So
what
thank you to Lemon Pie for being here.
it is that I prepare a certain thing that I want to share, and we have a certain way of being able to go through the material in a certain format and length of time. And so once we're able to get through that, then we can have guests.
You
And
guys do
then
have a chemistry together, so I don't want to interrupt, that, so to speak. But I'm
and
very happy to come on later. By the way, I watched the High Wire
well,
Quantum
no
Leap.
spoilers. I haven't seen it yet.
No, no, no. I'm not going to get
The what?
spoilers. I just
Oh,
want to
the
say I
Highwire
movie.
Quantum
really
Leap.
enjoyed it.
Mhm.
That's not going to happen until like March
I
something.
just thought I'd hedge my bets and watch it just in case if you guys did decide. I didn't think you would, but it was great though. Another great episode. I got to thank you guys for introducing me to that series because it's a great show.
Well, and I suppose I should shout out the fact that yeah, like it's amazing to watch Quantum Leap, and usually I get into such a sour mood by Thursday, and I'm like, I don't want to do anything, and I don't want to talk to anybody, and I don't want the world to keep moving. And then I'll watch an episode of Quantum Leap, and I'm like, be more like Sam Beckett. Come on, make right what once went wrong. It makes
Yeah,
me feel better. It's wholesome entertainment.
it really is
What
a feel good show.
Hmm.
would Sam Beckett do? That is a good
Yes.
question to ask in life.
I'd like to thank Captain Finity for being here, even though I don't like them. I don't like them.
I would like to thank Captain Finity for being here too. And he says, when you guys are finished, I'll start a live stream after. So anybody who's here who wants to continue to have some fun, check him out.
Take off your shirts. Thank you to LDG.
Yeah, thanks, LDG. Free the net.
Oh,
Uh,
I want to thank DVB for saying hi to us all. That's nice.
yeah, thank you, Trip.
DVB, I don't know. Are you still doing your radio broadcasts? Those are really cool. He puts together, he's a great YouTube DJ. He puts together some really great radio shows, and it almost feels like I'm a kid again listening to the radio because he
So
Nice.
puts them together. He puts it together in such a way that is
is,
entertaining.
is that like a music stream or something? Or?
Yes. It's like a radio show. Like you're listening
So
to
it's on.
music, and he even
Oh,
has commercials too, but like
but
funny ones. You know.
that's not on YouTube though, is it? Because they'd get a copy thing, would they?
Yes, he constantly gets copyright problems.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
I fought the law, and the law
I've
won.
actually always wanted to do like a music stream because people have told me over the years I do have a voice for like FM radio, but
Are you sure
sadly,
it's not because you have a face for it?
well, no, I definitely don't have. My face is better as it is right now
Great.
with no
Mine
camera.
too.
But people have always told me like, hey, you got a great voice, Well, I think that's why I got my current job actually is because I sound pretty good, I guess. I mean, we all hear ourselves in our own head in a different way than other people perceive us, I suppose. But
Well,
I
that's been
always wanted to be a DJ, but I never got the chance, right?
my problem is that I love the sound of my own voice more than I love the sound of others. So I just keep talking and no concern. Oh, it gets quite hypnotic. Hello, Phil.
And one long and unbroken sentence. Hey,
I think that's
Phil?
everybody.
There's a
Phil?
movie
Black
with,
Philip Alvarez.
oh, Phil is here. Hey, Phil.
Yeah,
That's great.
it is a good time. And Trip says that he will be starting something new again at Jill. Everyone wants to talk to you. Like, I get a little weird about the situation. I hang out with you so much, and everyone says hi to Jill, but no one ever says, hey, Scotty.
Citizen
No one
just
says,
said-
hey, PvP.
He said, great show, Scotty R37. He mentioned you first, then me, then PvP.
Well, speaking of which, you know what? I just want to say it's the
Yeah.
same thing every day. Clean your room, stand up straight, pick up your feet, take it like a man, be nice to your sister, Don't mix beer and wine ever. Oh, yeah. Don't drive on the railroad tracks. Well, it's Groundhog Day again, and we're all here to find out how much more weather we're going to have this season. And thank you so much for being here. My name is Scotty R37. I'm joined by Jill. Say hey, Jill.
Hey.
And PvP, who has been here since the beginning.
Hey, folks.
And if you'd like to hear more, I would say restart this broadcast.
Do you